we've had battles and wars and all of these different conflicts between them. So I would say we stop the Syrian refugees from coming into our American state.
Thank you. Mackenzie?
Thank you. So I would like to start off in saying that we should still support the moderate rebels. We shouldn't switch sides to Bashar al-Assad. And I believe that we should not take Syrian refugees because we have an mass influx of immigrants coming into our country now. And then I also believe that we should not accept those Syrian refugees because of the Paris attacks that have happened, and I believe that it could happen again in America.
Thank you. Dion?
Thank you. I believe that America needs to take a step back and evaluate ourselves. And we need to take into account how other countries feel and how other countries want to deal with their own people. And of course, we need to step in as America and try and persuade the countries to figure out what's best for their people.
Thank you. Jacob?
This war needs to end. The war between Syria and its people needs to end. Ending that war would mean a better chance for ending this war against ISIS. Right now, our world is technically at war, and if we can bring this to a close, that would create a safer world for possible refugees, for America. It would end a terrorist threat. If we could end this war against Syria, it would bring our world closer in fighting against ISIS. We need not to be separated from possible allies. If we can end the Syrian war, then we can take one focus, and that is ISIS.
Sarah?
Well, I actually disagree with you, Jacob. I actually think we should focus on the main conflict right now, and that is ISIS. Then we can worry about the refugees in Syria. Because ISIS, as I said before, they're like a business. You have no idea what they're thinking. One day you may think they're in Iraq, and then one day you may think, and then the next day they could be plotting in the U.S. So it's something that you have to think about because you have no idea where they're thinking about right now, and so that's why we should take a step back and start with ISIS.
Thank you very much. Let's keep it at 30 seconds. Niles?
We have seen the destructive capabilities of ISIS, and it is time to crush them at the core. It is time to leave them in the dust and move on to the next chapter and then deal with Bashar al-Assad. ISIS is a global threat. They are no longer a JV team. They are purely varsity, actually Division I now. And it is time that we crush them where they stand. And it is time for Bashar al-Assad to pay for his heinous acts. After we are done with that, we can rebuild Syria. But first things first, and that's ISIS.
I would agree with my candidate Niles in saying that ISIS right now needs to be our main target, as they have already raised over $511 million during their campaign of terrorism and are very steadily making their way towards becoming a caliphate in the Middle East. Right now we should be focusing on ISIS. We should wait, and then we should focus on Syria a little bit later after we solve this problem. And no, I would never ever push any other border country on Syria to accept refugees because they're even more weak to being infiltrated and being terrorists being pushed in, and then those terrorists radicalizing many other Muslims in those countries, which would then cause many more people to join ISIS.
Like Niall said, ISIS is a global threat. Us countries in the world just need to grow up, set aside past differences, and come together to stop ISIS. ISIS very powerful. They're just going to get even worse. And if we come together as a world to stop this problem, then I think after this is done, we'll have a better relationship with everybody will have a better relationship with each other, which will make the world 10 times better.
Thank you very much. And Caitlin, close us out.
I would say the most important task of America right now is to end the radicalization of people to ISIS and to end ISIS in general. We've seen the damage and the effects it has on people and what it has on these countries. And I think that even though Syria is a huge conflict, that it is not as important right now in our foreign policy to take care of moderate rebels, but to take care of the situation in ISIS, because we've seen multiple citizens come from their families and their homes